In this video, I'm going to give you some tips and guidance for when you're completing Day 3 Mathematical Modeling College Characteristics. You will continue to ask yourself, how might these relationships help prospective students make informed choices? So for the launch, you want to look over the data again and think about which characteristics seem to be related in a meaningful way. Here, you're really going to narrow down your choice to 2 characteristics that you're going to represent in a mathematical model. Okay, so you want to really choose one relationship and think about what it might mean for prospective students. So for this box here, you're going to take a moment to think about what characteristics you will focus on, and then you will start to think about how they are related and what might they mean. So take some time to answer those questions and pause the video if you haven't already, and then we'll come back together for the Explorer. Okay, so now that you completed the launch, let's look at the Explorer together. So you're going to analyze the relationships you chose and create a model to mathematically describe and represent it. You have choice in the model you create. There are many different models. You can create a geometric, graphical, tabular, algebraic, or statistical representation that describes the relationships between the variables. And you can perform any other calculations needed to summarize or make sense of the data. You also have choice of where to do this. I'm going to show you an example of a way you can think about this and use a scatter plot, but like I said, there are multiple different ways you can do this. So I'm going to go here to the data set and I'm thinking about what is the relationship I'm interested in. Well, one relationship I'm interested in is the median earnings compared to the cost per year. Is it true that if I spend more money per year, I'm going to make more money? I want to check out that relationship. I want to know if the cost impacts the median earnings. So because I'm going to be making a scatter plot, which we saw an example of yesterday, it's an XY graph where I plot the relationship and represent it. I'm going to need to think about what my table is going to look like, what my independent and dependent variables are. So I'm going to just press this plus sign and add a blank sheet. I'll just do it on here. And I'm thinking, well, median earnings is going to be, so I'm going to click that and press Command C. That's going to copy that. That's my dependent variable. I want to know, does cost per year impact median earnings? And then I press Command V or Control if you're on a Windows computer, Control V, and you're going to get this pasted. So here is my table. Now I'm going to click here, I'm going to press Shift, and I'm going to click here as well. So now I have these two highlighted. Google Sheets will make a chart for you. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click Chart. Google Sheets will automatically choose the chart type that they think would best represent this data. So here's your chart type. I'm going to check it's going from A1 to B201. Column A, cell 1, all the way down to column B, cell 201, where the data ends. Oops. Okay, so here is a nice chart. You can play around with this chart and customize it in any way you like. You can change the colors. You can change the title. You can make it work for you. Once you're done doing that, you are going to be able to also have the chart show the line of best fit. So I'm going to click Customize. I'm going to click Series. And I'm going to click, I want it to have a trend line. Here's my trend line. I'm going to change the color of that to red so I can see it better. And I'm actually going to make it less opaque. So now I can see my trend line. So I'm asking myself, is there a relationship? Well, I see that a lot of the data is clustered around that line. But I also see outliers and I see it kind of jumping around. So I'm not really sure how much of a relationship there really is. Like if I go over here, if I pay $60,000 a year, I might have a median earnings of just about a little more than 25,000, or I come all the way up here to a little more than 75,000. So I'm starting to wonder if there is really a relationship here. Within the trend line, I can also ask them to use the equation, and they give us a line of best fit equation. This is the equation that matches and represents that line. And then r squared tells me how r squared is between 0 and 1. It tells me about the variability. It tells me how well does this equation fit the data. And the number I'm getting is 0.354. So that's a low r squared. That's a weak kind of correlation that's happening here. So what I can conclude from this information is that there's some relationship between the cost per year and the median earnings, but there's not a strong relationship. And so that's something good to know for a student, because if I'm a prospective student, I might say to myself, so maybe I don't want to spend so much money on college. Maybe I want to focus on, let me look at the less expensive universities and see the ones that have the higher median earnings, such as these, and focus on maybe looking at those if cost is a factor for you. So once you're done with making your chart and playing around with it, you could press Control-C, copy it, paste your model in. You can link it to the spreadsheet, or you could just paste it unlinked. And then you can answer these questions. What does your model show about the relationship? How might it be helpful in making informed college choices? The closer R squared is to 1, the better your equation represents the data set and shows a stronger correlation between the two variables. Okay, so in summary, you have choice in what model you use. This is just one example of a model that you could use to represent your data set.